This is your wall pressure with dowel for shoulder extension exercise. This is a breathing focused exercise. So we'll be employing the chipmunk cheek for an inhale and the lion's breath exhale. You can just do a simple in through the nose, out through the mouth. The goal here is to regulate and create a really slow inhale that fills the ribs and employs those intercostal muscles in the rib cage to open and allow access for those lungs to swell. And when you exhale, you want to be driving that exhale from the belly. These two skills, the chipmunk and the lion, just make that a bit more obvious and apparent to your body, so you don't have to think so much about it. If you like to think, do it however you like. So I have here a dowel. I have here a nice sturdy wall, and I'll be putting my feet on this wall. I'm going to look for a 90-90 position. That means 90-degree angle in the hip joint and about a 90-degree angle in the knees. So in this position here, I'll create a little bit of downward pressure. I'm going to also, while I'm pushing down, I'm going to try and push my knees toward the ceiling. Now, I don't need you to actually lift crazy heights or anything. We're not doing a whole hip bridge, but I do want you to feel a little bit of engagement through those hamstrings. Also, you can place a ball between your knees for a little bit of added hamstring tension. So you'll be squeezing the ball and pulling down through the feet. You don't have to do that, but it will sort of be a nice progression for this exercise. Now I'm going to grab my dowel. I'm going to start with my hands gripping just naturally at about shoulder width. And then I'm going to grab maybe one hand's width beyond that. So I'm a little bit wider than shoulder width as I go. So I'm going to press my shoulder blades up and away from the ground. I'm going to pull those knees forward, and I'm going to work on that breath. So here I go. I'll give you 3 breaths just to watch and see how it goes. So I'm using the pressure of the ground on my back to really feel that increasing of volume, that swelling into those rib cage muscles, those intercostals. As I'm doing that, I'm trying to find that place where my shoulder joint is sort of at its maximum, but I'm not pulling my shoulder blade along for the ride. I'll show you a second variation of this, which will be a touch easier. I'm going to shuffle my shoulder blades under my body. It's going to kind of force me into this arched back position. So now I'm going to really need to lift that pelvis so that I can attain a nice neutral spine. From this position with those shoulders retracted, you might notice that your hands can get to a certain point and then they kind of stop. And if I were to go any further, I'd feel my shoulder blades sliding all around my back because the ground is right there underneath them. So I'm going to reshuffle my shoulder blades, get those right. I'm going to find that working edge. So at some point, I'll be lifting my hands up and I'll feel some kind of stoppage. Maybe it's a little discomfort in the shoulder joint. Maybe it's a feeling of stretching in the lat or the pec, or it might even be some neck discomfort. So shoulders back and down, pressing that back into the ground, lifting through the knees and breathing. And what we want to see is after a few breaths, we create more space. And our shoulder joint is allowed to go a little bit further in its socket before the shoulder blade begins to move. So we're beginning to mobilize that GC joint and create a little bit more shoulder extension from the shoulder joint itself without incorporating the shoulder blade. So one more time here, shoulders are retracted in this variation. pulling down through the feet. And hopefully your shoulders will feel a little more free to move in their socket. Enjoy.